A few months ago, I made a video discussing every Dungeons & Dragons god canon to the Forgotten Realms. I went over who they were, what they worshipped and represented, and their overall lore in a bite-sized video that somehow ended up being over 30 minutes long. As of this recording, it's my most viewed video on my new channel here, so I figured it's about time for another video similar to that, but this time we're going into the opposite direction and discussing all of the demon lords of Dungeons & Dragons. I'll be going over their appearances, their purposes, their goals, their worshippers, and notable things to, well, note. On this episode of my latest series that I am calling Lore and More. And if you're new here, I'm the D&D Hunter, a regular human man, and not a mind flayer in disguise. Don't believe the comments. Now, there are currently just under 100 demon lords in Dungeons & Dragons. But wait, that doesn't make sense. This video says there's 16 demon lords. Well, when doing research for this video, I discovered that there is a lot of demons that are mentioned once or twice in adventures from 2nd edition, sometimes even earlier than that, and never really appear ever again. Some are mentioned only in novels as well, and never actually are brought up in the Dungeons & Dragons sourcebooks. Some have little to no information at all, like not even their own wiki page. Like, there's this demon lord called Niquel, or maybe it's pronounced NQL? The only information I can find is that this was a name, or at least a fragment of a name, of a demon lord mentioned in the Codex of the Infinite Planes. But that's it. There's no other information on this demon lord, but it is considered one of the 90 plus demon lords that exist in D&D lore. So I decided to break these demon lords into a category. If they appeared in a D&D sourcebook from 5th edition and onward, into like 5.5 edition, then they belong on this list. If they didn't appear in any of those books, then, well, that just means that they haven't really been relevant in well over a decade. Sure, they can still exist in canon, right next to Niquel here, but they don't seem noteworthy enough to bring up in this video. Demon lords, unlike devils, don't come from hell beneath us. They come from the Abyss, which is a plane with pretty much infinite layers. So if I missed a demon lord in this video that you like, they're probably in a different layer of the Abyss doing, I guess, nothing, because they've been forgotten. They haven't been mentioned in 10 years. Anyways, with all that said, this is a big list, so let's get into it. Here are the 16 true demon lords of Dungeons & Dragons. Let's get started. Number 1 on this list is Baphomet. Baphomet is, well, inspired and entirely based on an actual entity called Baphomet. I won't be comparing the two outside of that though, so from here on out I'm focusing on the Dungeons & Dragons version of Baphomet. He appears as a massive black-furred minotaur towering over 20 feet tall, 6 iron horns curling from his skull, red eyes burning with a kind of cruel intelligence. He's the Prince of Beasts, but that title's a little bit misleading because Baphomet isn't just about the beasts that roam all the lands and all that. He's about embracing brutality and convincing yourself that it's the only way you can possibly live. He rules the Endless Maze, the 600th layer of the Abyss, an ever-shifting labyrinth that's supposedly infinite, which sort of makes him sort of like his own take on the myth of the Minotaur in the Labyrinth. At the heart sits his fortress, the Lycation, where he spends his time scheming, plotting, and experimenting in his own infamous Tower of Science. Yes, that is what he calls it. Creating new demonic horrors. Many demons actually found in the monster manuals were brought to life by Baphomet. He wields a massive weapon called the Heart Cleaver, and he can spew guts of unholy water out of his mouth. If you encounter him and fail against him, well, he's gonna eat you. Like, he literally eats his enemies. And that's the generous thing that he can do here. What makes Baphomet kind of fun is he has many demon rivalries. He has a legendary hatred for the demon Yeenoghu, the two having waged an endless forgotten war against each other for so long that they don't even remember how it started in the first place. He's also crossed paths with Orcus, and he was once imprisoned by him, and he even shares an uneasy silent truce with the demon the Pale Knight. These are demons that I'm going to get to later in this video. Worshippers of Baphomet are drawn by the illusion of freedom and strength, symbolized by his blood-soaked mage sigil, only to lose themselves to violent instincts. There's even some grim irony to his story, since Baphomet may have once been mortal, although that is just a myth. Cursed by the gods and cast into the abyss for treating divine beings like cattle. In 5th edition specifically, Baphomet is the ultimate embodiment of controlled chaos, A demon lord who doesn't just want you to be a monster, but wants you to believe that you should be the monster because it's the most honest thing you can ever be. After all, this Minotaur might not have always looked like this if he was mortal at one point. I like to imagine that he would really like lycanthropes, and especially on a full moon. He likely believes that if they do turn, they're becoming their true selves, but that's just my own headcanon. Number 2 is Dagon, the big fish demon lord. Dagon is a demon lord that is such a raging warlord when he appears. He's more of a slow nightmare besides that, creeping from the ocean floor. His true form is a disturbing blend of a shark and a sea serpent, but unlike many demon lords, Dagon is an Oboth, one of the ancient primordial demons that existed before the Abyss settled into anything resembling order, which also makes him one of the older demon lords for sure. He rules the Shadow Sea, a lightless crushing abyss of water that sits within the abyss itself, and he's known as the Lord of the Darkened Depths for a good reason. What makes Dagon especially unsettling is that he rarely makes dramatic power grabs. Even ancient texts like the Demonicon points out that Dagon could have seized greater control of the abyss during moments of chaos, but he chose not to. Whatever his endgame is, it's unknown. On the material plane, Dagon's influences have always lurked beneath the waves. For centuries, his presence haunted the Sea of the Fallen Stars, where he and his servants were whispered as those who sleep below. Dagon's cult grew slowly, especially with warlocks, among the aquatic races, like sea hags, Kautoa, and even the Krakens. His servants worked tirelessly to weaken the influence of the sea gods. One of his most horrifying schemes involves unleashing reoccurring wild tides, which are magical tsunamis essentially that slaughtered entire populations, eventually causing surviving communities to abandon their gods altogether and turn to Dagon just for protection against Dagon. If they pray to him, maybe they'll live. And just to make an even stranger thing, Dagon is one of the few demon lords known to have heroic descendants, including a mortal champion who didn't even realize his demonic heritage until he violently manifested it. His name was Captain Foster, and for any Critical Role fans out there, his story sort of reminded me a bit of Ford and the Uk'otoa. Dagon is a very patient demon who tends to cause havoc while being mostly hidden in the dark waters. On the extreme rare chances he does appear, it could feel like, well, I mean, just look at the art I've been showing you here. You tell me what you think this would feel like to witness. Number 3 is Demogorgon, who is the demon lord. Demogorgon is the one that other demon lords are afraid of saying out loud. Unlike its Stranger Thing counterpart that just shares the name, Dungeons & Dragons Demogorgon is an actual frightening and intelligent lord of the 88th layer of the Abyss. Towering at nearly 20 feet tall, his body is a nightmarish mash of reptile, ape, and serpents, topped with 2 snarling baboon heads and withering tentacles. Those heads actually have names. I'm going to try to pronounce them here, so wish me luck, everybody. Amul and Hetheradia. I think I actually nailed it there. They are constantly at war with each other though, arguing all the time. And that internal conflict is the only thing keeping Demogorgon from conquering the entire abyss. One head is cunning and manipulative and obsessive with domination, and the other is more feral and impulsive and lives purely for destruction. He calls himself the Prince of the Demons, and unlike many demon lords, that title wasn't self-appointed. He earned that by crushing rivals and even forcing figures like Orcus to kneel to him. Demogorgon rules the Gaping Maw, which is what the official 80th layer of the Abyss is called. It's a nightmarish ocean broken by jagged landmasses of rotting jungles. His fortress is made of twin serpent-shaped towers rising from the sea. Most of it is submerged because Demogorgon is perfectly at home under the water, believe it or not. His influence spread through Abelisks, Kraken, and Kuo-toa, just like Dagon's do, who worship him in absolute terror. Some warlocks do gain power from him. This is official art of a warlock that is to the Demogorgon here. He's also infamous for creating monsters, chimeras, ettins, marrow, and even the first Death Knight ever made was created by Demogorgon. He treats the Abyss kind of like a laboratory, sort of like Baphomet. In combat, just seeing him can shatter minds. His gaze can hypnotize, his tentacles rot flesh, and his tail drains life itself. And despite all of that power, Demogorgon still has a stat block here. He can still be beat. He's been summoned, he's been imprisoned, he's been unleashed, and he's even been defeated on the material plane. But just like a classic horror slasher villain, he always comes back. Number 4 is Fraz-Urb'luu. that how you pronounce his name? Hold on. Fraz-Urb'luu. Okay. Number 4 is Fraz-Urb'luu. Fraz-Urb'luu, sorry, that name's so funny. He's kind of like a demon lord who doesn't conquer with armies. He more so conquers by lying, so conveniently that you never really realize that you lost. He's known as the Prince of Deception. He is a towering gargoyle-like form with massive black wings, pale blue fur, gray skin, and a long tail. But his real danger has nothing to do with his claws and teeth. Fraz-Urb'luu can see through everything. Literally everything, though. There's almost nothing he can't uncover or manipulate. His specialty isn't raw destruction, it's convincing even other demon lords to do exactly what he wants. At his peak, he ruled the 176th layer of the Abyss called the Hollow Heart, a realm that he can reshape at will, turning mountains to dust or swallowing cities with a thought. At one point, his domain was said to rival the beauty of the upper planes, which, knowing Fraz-Urb'luu, should be a first warning sign, since, he is the Prince of Deception after all. This guy's got history. His downfall came not from his rival demon, but from mortals. The Archmage Zagig and his apprentice Tasha managed the unthinkable by tricking the Prince of Deception into being summoned and then imprisoning him. While trapped for centuries, our boy Fraz did what he does best. He planned, he whispered, and he corrupted his way out of it. Tasha actually learned so much from observing him that she went on to write the Demonicon, one of the most dangerous books in D&D lore. Fraz-Urb'luu may not shout his powers like Demogorgon, but if a deal seems too good to be true, there's a real chance that the Prince of Deception is already smiling somewhere in the Abyss. Smiling like this. What a silly looking guy. Look at him. Look at him smile. Number 5 is Graz'zt. Graz'zt is a demon lord that isn't just claws on fire and screaming faces, because sometimes screaming demon faces can look beautiful. Aww. Known as the Prince of Pleasure, Graz'zt rules over Azagrat, the triple realm that spans 45th, 46th, and 47th layers of the Abyss. He's tall, he's elegant, he's unsettlingly handsome, obviously. Obsidian skin, glowing green eyes, 6 fingers on each hand, and just enough demonic features like fangs and horns and pointed ears to remind you that, hey, this guy, he's a demon lord. Graz'zt dresses better than most demon lords and carries himself with a calm confidence, which is part of what makes him dangerous. Personality-wise, Graz'zt is all about controlling through desire. He's cruel and arrogant and endlessly self-indulging, but unlike most demons, he's the most patient one of them. He's very calculating. So much so that people often say that he acts more like a devil than a demon. He prefers manipulation and seduction and long-term schemes over open war and frequently dealing with mortals on the material plane. He offers powers and favors, with a bill that comes due later. Like a devil, but he's not a devil. But despite all that calm and indulgence, Graz'zt is terrifyingly capable in a fight. He's an immensely powerful spellcaster, specializing in domination, fear, and battlefield control, and he outright has the ability to steal your soul, literally trapping your soul inside his own gems. And if magic isn't enough, he wades into battle wielding a weapon that I'm going to pronounce right now. Ang'drelv, the Wave Sorrow. Yeah, that sounds right. It's an acid-dripping blade that corrodes flesh, backed by powerful defenses of rapid regeneration. Graz'tz's ultimate goal, like many demon lords, is total domination of the Abyss. I mean, what else could a demon lord want? But after that, he wants the lower planes, and eventually, he wants the multiverse all for himself. How original, Graz'zt, how original. Number 6 is Juiblex, better known as the Faceless Lord or the Ooze King. Can you guess why? Juiblex is one of the strangest demon lords of the Abyss because he barely really qualifies as a person at all. He's just a big ooze guy, like he's a colossal mass of sentient slime. He's got no face, he's got no real shape that he holds on to. He's just an ever-shifting ocean of acid ooze that devours everything. Juiblex rules the slime pits, believe it or not. A layer of the Abyss made of bubbling pools, rotting landscapes, and living sludge where almost nothing solid survives for long. I say almost because there are some places that you can survive in the slime pits, but those are run by a different demon lord who I'll talk about next. Unlike most demon lords, Juiblex doesn't scheme or tempt or corrupt their worlds, he just consumes everything. Entire creatures, even memories and identities are all dissolved into him, making him feel less like a ruler, more like just a natural disaster with a mind somewhere in it. What makes him unsettling, though, is his alien hunger. He's obsessed with just consumation. Is that a word? Like consuming things. And he despises anything that with like structure or orderly, especially other demon lords who rely on hierarchy or planning, just because being solid overall is like an insult to this guy. Juiblex cultists are often mad alchemists or creatures fascinated by losing their individuality entirely. They're willing to literally dive in him and dissolve themselves into his mass. Now, Juiblex promises obliteration, and when you're visiting the Abyss, that's the most honest deal you can possibly get. Also, I just want to point out real quick that Juiblex has a crazy amount of history and lore that I just can't fit into this video. Like, I feel like I could make 10 videos on this big ooze guy. His wiki page is way longer than most demon lords on this list, which is really weird considering that he's just a big ooze. Well, I guess he's actually a lot more than just a big ooze, but, you know, maybe for a future video. For all you big ooze guy fans, let me know about you Juba heads out there if you want to learn more about Juiblex. Number 7 is Juiblex's neighbor, Zuggtmoy. Zuggtmoy is the demon queen of fungi. It's a decay with a purpose. Zuggtmoy lets rot grow. She appears as a towering corpse-pale humanoid whose body is fused with massive mushrooms, veiny caps, and drifting clouds of spores. She rules the Garden of Rot, which is a festering abyssal lair where fungal forests choke the air. Corpses sprout like crops and entire civilizations slowly rot from inside out. Zuggtmoy actually sees decay as a transformation, though. Death feeds life, and life, well, it feeds her. What makes Zuggtmoy especially dangerous is how comforting she can be. She preaches acceptance, unity, and the beauty of surrender, drawing in druids, myconids, outcasts, and desperate souls who just want to belong to something eternal. Her followers often don't actually realize that they're being corrupted until they're, well, literally sprouting mushrooms from their skin. Despite sharing the slime pits with Juiblex, the two actually despise each other. They are terrible roommates. Juiblex consumes completely, while Zuggtmoy wants decay to linger and spread. In the Abyss, she represents the slow, suffocating horror of rot that doesn't rush. It just waits until everything's ready to fall apart. And Juiblex hates that! Number 8. Kostchtchie, who is the Prince of Wrath with an adorable name. And unlike most demon lords, he isn't subtle or clever or manipulative. He's a big old guy that really likes to fight things. I mean, when it comes to demon lord, you gotta have one of these guys, right? A towering frost giant-like demon, often wrapped in chains and scars, Kostchtchie embodies rage that never cools. He rules a frozen lair of the Abyss where blizzards howl non-stop and survival itself is an act of fury. His realm is about pain, endurance, and the idea that suffering makes you stronger. Otherwise, it'll kill you. What really defines Kostchtchie is hatred. He actually despises Graz'zt, who once humiliated and imprisoned him, and that grudge burns hotter than any hellfire down here. Or I guess abyss fire. Kostchtchie since has been waiting for a chance to rip Grazzt's chest from his bare hands. His followers are brutal warriors, usually berserkers and frost-scarred cultists who believe anger is sacred and mercy is just a weakness. While other demon lords want worship and souls and control, Kostchtchie here just wants one thing, for the universe to hurt as much as he does, for having an adorable name, for being such a scary guy. Probably. Probably. That's my theory, at least. Number 9 is Lolth. What are you doing here, Lolth? Lolth is the demon queen of spiders. This one's a little confusing. If you guys watched my god video, which is the first version of this video that you're watching right now, Lolth was actually on that list as well. She was in that video. In the 2024 Dungeon Master's Guide under the Abyss section, Lolth is described as a demon lord here. But in the Forgotten Realms Heroes of Faerûn book, which came out about a year after, she is described as a goddess in the god section. So she is officially both, and also described as a demon lord who has found a place in the material plane more than any others, which could be a reason why she is a goddess there. Anyways, as a demon, she rules the demon web pits, a twisted layer in the abyss that overlaps multiple planes where massive webs stretch across reality itself. Appearing most often as a towering drow woman with a lower body of a giant spider, Lolth embodies betrayal, cruelty, and domination. She's calculated chaos, rewarding treachery, punishing failure, and constantly shifting the rules, which is just so unfair, Lolth. I guess that's why no one ever beneath her feels safe. Lolth's greatest creation is arguably the Drow society itself. She engineered an entire culture built on paranoia, ambition, and backstabbing, all to ensure that her followers are always desperate for her favor. Priests rise and fall constantly, houses collapse overnight, and loyalty is meaningless unless it serves Lolth for the moment. She communicates through dreams, omens, and spiders. So many spiders. Often giving contractory commands just to watch the fallout. To Lolth, faith is all about survival. Now, what sets her apart from the other demon lords is how personal she is. She toys with her followers directly, testing them, breaking them, and occasionally elevating them only to cast them down harder later. Those who wrong her may have the fear of becoming a derider. Even other demon lords tread carefully around her. She's arguably the most known and maybe the most popular demon lord on this list, so if you ever play a drow, there's a good chance that Lolth's name will come up in your backstory or eventually in your own campaign. So if Lolth is controlled through fear, Malcanthet, the queen of the succubi, is controlled through desire. Number 10 is Malcanthet, who rules a place I will now try to pronounce. Wish me luck, everybody, in the comments below. She rules a place called Shendilaviri. Sure. Shendilaviri. That word. A lush, nightmarish realm of pleasure and excess where temptation is a weapon. She appears as your perfect object of desire. That's right, I say your because whoever looks upon her, she effortlessly shifts to a form to exploit you and your every weakness. Malcanthet isn't really all about lust, though. She's about obsession, addiction, and the slow erosion of willpower. Her succubi spread across the plains as demonic sirens in a way, whispering promises, offering comfort, and then tightening the leash around their victims when they're hooked. Even powerful fiends and demon lords have fallen into her web. I mean, Demogorgon himself was once manipulated by her, though neither would ever admit who truly had the upper hand in the situation. Unlike Graz't's theatrical plays of lust, Malcanthet's power is more quiet, more intimate, and far more difficult to escape. To Malcanthet, love is a lie, pleasure is a trap, and freedom is just an illusion she's more than happy to sell to you. Number 11 is Malkizid. Malkizid didn't start as a demon lord. He was actually once a solar angel, a general in the celestial armies before falling to corruption and pride. After his fall, he became a lord of the abyss, ruling a lair known as the Broken Reach, an embodiment of betrayal and tyranny, and preservation of divine authority. Malkizid represents something far more unsettling, and that's the idea that even heaven's greatest champions can be twisted into monsters. Malkizid was obsessed with order and rulership. He wasn't crazy with the mindless destruction like a lot of the other demon lords were, though. He gathered fiendish armies and ruled his domain like a dark empire, which makes him a direct threat to the upper planes. But to the chaotic balance of the abyss, that obsession ultimately led him to his downfall. Other demon lords united against him, destroying his realm and imprisoning him deep within the 9 hells, whereas Modius actually kept him shackled as both prisoner and warning. In time he did get away though, after being exiled from the hells, but a group of followers that he gained in hell followed him out. These followers were devils who now worship this demon lord, which is pretty interesting. That's a good idea. Number 12 is Obox-ob, who is an Obrith, one of the original demon lords that existed before mortal souls shaped the abyss into a modern form. He ruled long ago, during times where demons weren't that knowledgeable, like they were unknown. People didn't know what they were. He is a monstrosity with dripping venom eyes and a weird body, and I'm trying to describe this here, but I guess you're watching it. This is his design. It's pretty gross, dude. Like, what the hell? I mean, or what the abyss? What the abyss, man? Why does he look like that? Obox-ob was the first true prince of demons, seizing power during chaos and the abyss's creation. His reign ended when Demogorgon, Orcus, and others overthrew him, shattering his power and scattering his essence. But Obox-ob never truly died. His corruption seeps into vermin, plagues, and infestations. Swarms, rots, and I guess anything that crawls all bears traces to his influence. I mean, any bug that crawls, not like a crawling baby. A crawling baby is not going to have Obox-ob's influence. Unless this is Dungeons & Dragons, you can do anything you want in this game, so DMs take note. Number 13 is my personal favorite demon lord. He is a character that I've used a lot in some of my own campaigns, and he might be the most popular on this list if Lolth wasn't here, although he still could be the most popular one. That is Orcus. Orcus is the demon lord of undeath, and honestly, that already tells you everything you need to know about him. So let's move on to number 14, who is, I'm kidding, I'm kidding. Comment below if you laughed at that joke. uh, he's a bloated corpse pale monstrosity with ram-like horns, cloven hooves, and a constant stench of decay, wielding one of the most infamous artifacts in Dungeons & Dragons history with a name to be feared. The Wand of Orcus. Yeah, it's a little wand here. You can actually buy a physical version of this wand at many game stores. Orcus has a goal that is to silence the whole multiverse. No life, no chaos, no rebellion, just an endless obedient army of dead, answering only to Orcus. What makes him really scary is that he doesn't fully embrace the chaos of the Abyss, like most demon lords do. In fact, he kinda hates it. Undead are predictable. They don't scheme, they don't betray, they don't disobey. Orcus dreams of replacing the howling madness of existence with perfect stillness, which puts them at odds with not only the gods but other demon lords like Demogorgon, whom he despises. His realm is called Thanatos, which is a frozen necropolis filled with undead horrors, liches, and death cults that span countless worlds. It's sort of described as a giant graveyard with actual tombstones littering the area. So Orcus is one of those demon lords that is most likely to show up in a lot of campaigns. I mean, he has his own figure here. I guess they all do, but he has a lot of cultists though in general. They're everywhere. I've used him, I've used his cult before, and they've each been great at times. He has necromancers that worship him, death priests, failed liches. All roads of the undead eventually point to Orcus. He also regularly grants powers to warlocks, and unlike many demon lords, he has actually become a god before. And fallen from that status too. In the end, he does have a stat block here, so he can be beaten. But every time he has been beaten, he finds a way to crawl his way back, because death is nothing to Orcus. He always comes back. Like Chucky.
I'll be back! I always come back!
I love Chucky. Number 14 is the Pale Knight, who is not a demon lord that you fight. It's the demon lord that you gotta turn around and run away from. She is one of the hope that you never notice, because she is the mother of demons. Pale Knight is an ancient figure whose true form is so horrifying that even demon lords refuse to look upon her directly. She appears as this towering figure wrapped in completely white veils. Unlike Orcus or Demogorgon, Pale Knight does not rule through armies or conquests. She is an ancient, patient, and terrifying passive, pretty much ghost-like figure. I mean, she's basically like a person with a sheet over her body, so, you know, like a classic ghost. Aw. Many demon lords are believed to be her children, though, including Graz'zt, who is her child, depending on which origin myth you believe, of course. And her influence runs deep through the Abyss's bloodline. What makes the Pale Knight especially unsettling is how little is known about her goals. She just sort of waits, like she hangs out. And the fact that even the most powerful demon lords treat her with fear is a reference to say, you know, like, you should also treat her with fear. Pale Knight is the origin of the Abyss and potential demon lords in general, quietly reminding everybody that no matter how powerful they become, something older is still watching them behind the veil. Number 15 is Pazuzu, who is a name that sounds like Labubu. Pazuzu is another entity that wasn't created by Dungeons & Dragons alone, though, so I probably shouldn't be making fun of the name. Similar to Baphomet's, D&D's Pazuzu is inspired by the demonic Babylon god with the same name. So yeah, a real demon lord. It sounds like Labubu. But that's the only comparison that I'm going to give the two, so from here on out, it's all about Dungeons & Dragons version of Pazuzu. Pazuzu is the demon lord of the lower aerial kingdoms. He rules through temptation, appearing as a towering demon with vulture wings and talons. Pazuzu specializes in whispered promises, especially to the desperate, traveling lost in the sky. Mortals who are in free fall or people on the brink of ruin often find themselves calling his name, sometimes without even realizing it. What makes Pazuzu especially insidious is that he's one of the few demon lords who will occasionally help mortals. Of course, the price always comes later, because in the end he's a demon, but he loves long games, corrupting heroes slowly over the years, turning saviors into tyrants or monsters into even stronger monsters. In many settings, invoking Pazuzu can even protect a mortal from other demons. Pazuzu's cult often masquerades as protection or guidance, especially among the lost and vulnerable. And while he doesn't seek to conquer the abyss like others, his influence stretches far beyond it. So if your party ever ends up falling from a big cliff or something like that, maybe try screaming, Pazuzu, and he might appear to help catch your fall. These demon lords have funny names, and they're very easy to pronounce as well. Our final demon lord is number 16, Yeenoghu. I definitely butchered that. Hold on. Yeenoghu. There it is. Number 16 is Yeenoghu, the Beast of Butchery. He is the demon lord of one of Dungeons & Dragons' most feared creatures, gnolls. He is pure, unfiltered, slaughter-given form, towering, hyena-headed, and starving. Yeenoghu wields a massive flail and exists in a constant state of violent hunger. Gnolls aren't just like followers of Yeenoghu's though, they're more like his echo. Created or twisted by his influence, they exist only to kill, consume, and then move on, leaving nothing but bones behind. His realm is in the abyss and has a swarming endless savanna of blood-soaked plains and screaming prey that he endlessly just hunts. Yeenoghu hates Baphomet, our first demon on this list, and considers him to be his ancient rival. The conflict is one of the oldest in the abyss, a clash between predatory rage and calculated brutality, with neither side remembering how it even began, like I mentioned before. Yeenoghu is the type of creature to want something immediately. He isn't really ever seen plotting or scheming or prepping, he just kind of hunts as soon as he thinks of something. He wants it, he's chasing after it, making him just a pure chaotic threat of violence. And that's it! Oh, we did it! Thank you guys so much for watching this video. This video took a lot of research. I kind of felt like that kid in Windhelm trying to summon the Dark Brotherhood in Skyrim when doing it, but instead of his little death setup I had going on, I had books on like Out of the Abyss open and tabs on D&D demons and their wiki pages open up. If this were the 80s, I would be one of those reasons that people thought Dungeons & Dragons was really demonic over just what I was looking up here for this video. But it's just a game in the end, right? It's just a game. We're having fun here. I hope you guys learned about demons in this video, Dungeons & Dragons demons. You can use these in your campaign. You can pray to them as a warlock or as maybe an evil sort of paladin. These are all the canon demon lords of Dungeons & Dragons, the ones that have been used in 5th edition onward. If you like a demon that wasn't mentioned in this, then hey, they either haven't been relevant in over a decade or I missed them. I forgot. I didn't see it there. So let me know in the comments below what your favorite demon lord is. That's a weird sentence to say. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.